He gets me killed a lot. I will, whether it's misdroning or walking when I shouldn't. But at the end of the day, it's definitely an improvement over previous like teams, and having that person is just such like a backbone.
Right, here I am with Amty of Elevate Academy. Amty, how you doing?
I am doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing all right. It's a fine day in this basement that has no lighting changes, no matter the hour. But
Uh,
take my word for it. I've been outside. Trust. I've touched
Good
grass.
to hear. Uh,
Amty, coming into XGS, you were a recent pickup for Elevate Academy. You know, the JJ Marm Neo Core has been with Elevate for a while now, and both you and Didi's were picked up. And I'd say you've done pretty well so far. You know, a 1-1 record, lost a Hound, beat Aerial Arise. You know, how do you think you're doing for yourself from your own perspective? Because I know the outside is always a little bit wrong when it comes to this stuff.
um, I think that we're at a good starting point. I mean, like you said, we are fairly new to the team, so I mean, obviously there's a lot of practice that needs to come of it. Um, but for a good basis starting point, I feel like we're in a very strong position to, especially like grow as a team. Our loss against Monkey Business was kind of unfortunate, with having three people not touch the game in multiple days and come back with no practice or anything, and then go right into a game was unfortunate timing. And but I feel like we redeemed ourselves, especially on Oregon, uh, when we played Aerial Rise the other day, which
Yeah.
was definitely a confidence booster, kind of more of a proving that Oregon is a good map for us, and not to be walked on it, like is what happened on against Monkey Business. So
Yeah, and I want to pick your brain here a little bit because I know Ariel, you know, they're 0-2, and this is something that nobody expected. Like, obviously, you want to say that you yourself played well when you win a match, but was this like Ariel Arise what we should be expecting of them, or was this like they're tripping on their own feet a little bit, and they're not at 100%?
um, it felt like a lot of their attacks were very very linear on our
Okay.
defense rounds. They changed a few things here or there, but they had one round where their push transferred to five people walking through attic behind the Monty, and I mean, sure, it cleared me out of attic and it cleared everybody out, but then you have your shotgun players and everything like that that are still spread out, and there's just nothing you can do.
Yeah.
They are a very good team. Don't get me wrong. I just felt like either not enough adapting or too many holes that we were able to kind of capitalize on. I mean, it does help that Neo is insane
Yeah.
and Didi just walked into sight and won us that other round on basement, but
Yeah.
um, no, it just mainly we saw their holes a lot, which is like the main thing that I think is what helped us in that game.
Okay, and so I finally have this now because when I was doing the past few interviews, Wikipedia wasn't updated yet, but I can finally say this. You're up against E1 All Stars, so your reward for beating Aerial Arise, one of the best teams in this tournament, like from what people like personally power rank these teams, your reward for beating them is facing another one of the top teams. What are your thoughts going into this E1 All Stars game?
Um, Essentially, I want to win against them more than anything. We played against them in the TPL semifinals of playoffs.
Okay.
Um, we 7-0'd them first map and then got reverse swept, unfortunately, and they won
Oh,
the next two in a row. Um, Nothing but mistakes, two maps that we played, but not, again, it was early, not a whole lot of practice. Going into that next game, I am wanting to redeem it. I do want to beat them. I want to, not lose to them twice over, but
yeah.
so we're practicing as much as we can. It's more of just like I think everybody on the team has the same idea. It's like we lost to them once, we don't want to have it happen again. So going into it, we're just trying our best, just learning everything we can.
Okay, and I want to pick your brain a little bit here with coming into a JJ team because I think it's fair to say JJ as an IGL is kind of like a polarizing figure. Just the way he puts himself out there kind of lends itself to that. What is it like working with JJ, and like what is his style of IGLing?
Working with JJ is an experience. Not much. much else you can really say. It is nice. I've played on multiple of other teams, and most of the teams I've played on, we haven't had a dedicated IGL before.
Okay.
It's usually more group like shot calling from anybody. It was more like a five-man IGL, so one person would see something and call a push.
Okay.
But having somebody to dedicate pushes and the way JJ does, it's an improvement as far as it goes.
Yeah.
Something that I have very little experience with, but I feel like it's helping me, you know, grow as a player, definitely.
Okay.
Um, he gets me killed a lot. I will, whether it's misdroning or walking when I shouldn't, but at the end of the day, it's definitely an improvement over previous like teams, and having that person is just such like a backbone, and I feel like as a team you need it, and I don't think I realized that before.
Yeah, and
So
so is it just kind of like having the go-to guy that you can always turn to for an answer, or is it more just, JJ's always coming up with ideas. He's always willing to like throw something out there, because I know for the way it's been phrased before, the way it's been explained in like Counter-Strike by pundits is it's easy to be a secondary shot caller when you only get to call when you have the great ideas, and you don't have to talk when you have no ideas. But for the dedicated IGL, they're always having to put stuff out there, even if they got nothing. It's a bad idea, but we got to do something to like try and turn this around. Is JJ like have JJ being the dedicated IGL and being willing to just like say anything better than like or more effective than those 5-man like shot calling situations? Because when things start going wrong, people start quieting down. They don't got ideas. Like they're not as vocal as when things are going right and everything's just kind of flowing.
yeah, well, no, exactly. That's just it. That was a problem that we did run into a lot.
Okay.
With the five-man shot calling, like somebody sees something, they say something. We had an issue with stalling out on attacks. Attacks were definitely a weak point with us. Um, as far as JJ goes, it's not like he's like he calls something at the beginning of every round,
Yeah.
but it's more or less gives us like the basic foundation of a push, and then as the rest of the team is kind of going, it's the same as any team. Just calling out what you see. Anybody can give ideas if they see something, but if nobody has ideas, then JJ will call something. So
Okay.
we always have some sort of structure, but it's definitely pretty like able to change depending on what people see. So
Yeah. Okay. And I want to ask about the transition just from Outlast Black, because I feel like you were on that team forever. Like when I was working Game Rogue events, even like in May, I remember the second Outlast team, and I'm like, oh, DD's Amty, Kronk, Foresight, the guys, the Outlast guys. What is it like being on a new team? Because I think that's an underrated aspect of like being a player is when you finally move teams after being so established. It presents like I want to say challenges, but just being in a new environment, it's very different, and like having to adapt to that is difficult for some people. Like, how has that transition been?
well, yeah, with the Outlast Black guys, me, Didi, Kronk, and Foresight were playing together for well over a year,
Wow.
across different teams. We weren't under an org. I joined them at the end of their PXG days. Then we weren't under an org for a few months. We were constantly picking up our fifth and then getting rid of our fifth, but that four was definitely the main group that we were with. I think everybody that was on that team agreed that it was very like bittersweet towards the end. Obviously, you're gonna miss your friends and
Yeah.
playing, but you want to see them move on to something better.
Yeah.
Um, so moving to Elevate was definitely a good call, I think. I feel like we're doing pretty well. And I think that me and Didi mesh really well with the way that they play. So
Yeah.
the transition period to Elevate has not been overly complicated. Obviously, there's a few soft spots here and there that, we need to work on, but um, as a basis from, the first tryout scrim with us too, it was definitely felt like we worked well together.
Okay.
And that was I don't think me or Didi have ever played with anybody on that team until we had our tryout. So it's not like we had prior experience with them or anything. It was just we got in and felt like it worked. It's
Sweet.
been very, very fluid.
Yeah, and I'm sure it must help to have like a veteran like Marmalade, someone who's been to the NAL before, Mirage or no Mirage. That's still an impressive feat in itself, and like having someone with that kind of experience has got to help, right?
Oh, absolutely. She's always you can always put trust on falling back on Marm, whether it's she's insight, you don't got to worry about her, giving first pick, like nothing like that. She's always one of the more reliable players on the team. Uh, I think most people agree with that too. Anybody that's played with her can say that.
All right. And towards the end of the interview, I've been doing this for like everyone just to get a gauge of like where the players think everyone ranks. Who do you think are like the top 3-ish teams in XGS right now? At the start of the season, people were saying Aerial Arise, but now they're 0-2. Are they still up there? Is it someone else? Like, who are your top 3 teams in XGS right now?
I still think Aerial Arise is going to be one of the better teams, especially once they start getting to the best of threes.
Okay.
That's when I feel like they're really gonna shine. Um, I don't watch a whole lot of other games. I watch them here and there, but busy scheduling, so
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot aside from the teams I play. Um,
Just off the top of your head, like name
I
name brand
think,
value, like
yeah, I think Wild Card will be definitely one of the top teams to beat. That'll be one of the harder ones,
okay.
and then probably it's a mix between E1 All Stars and Karn and Co. ACAD or Mirage ACAD,
Okay.
whichever team that was. I
Yeah.
forget what their name
I
changed
mean,
to.
I
The
think
one
it's
with,
Karn and Co. ACAD now.
I think so. Yeah, it's between that and E1 All Stars. I feel like those would be my three top teams of XGS here.
Okay. No Karn and Co.
Oh no, Karn and Co. is there. Yeah, okay, never mind.
Yeah,
Scrap
I
that. Yeah,
had to
Karn and
check because
Co.
I was like, hold on a minute.
I completely forgot about that. It's for some reason blanked and forgot about that team. No, definitely gonna swap out E1 All Stars and
Yeah, yeah,
Karn and Co.
that's
ACAD
fair.
for Karn and Co.
Okay.
No, they're I've watched a few of their games and they're something else. I
Yeah.
don't know how long they're gonna make it someday. I have no doubt in my mind.
Right. And then last thing here, is there anyone in this tournament or any team in this tournament that you particularly want to play against? Obviously, E1 All Stars is right there. You're primed for the run back. But is there anyone else that you've got your crosshairs set on and you really want to face off against? Should brackets bless it?
Um, Off the top of my head, not really. I do wanna play. I don't remember the team name. It's the one with Glomoji and
Oh,
Drix
the
and
opposition?
yes, the opposition. We beat them back on Outlast Black, and then they beat us. So technically, we're 1-1. I wouldn't mind playing them again. Settling the score a little.
Yeah.
Uh, but no, definitely the biggest one would be E1 All Stars.
All right.
Taking a best of 3 loss against them was less than ideal. So having the rematch would definitely be something that I think we all want to do.
Right. And then final thing here to close out, Amty, is there anyone that you want to shout out? Anything that you want to say to the fans, the haters, or anyone in between?
Um, Shout out JJ, definitely. I love the guy. Like I said, I haven't been with him for very long, but he has been helping a lot. Whether it be improving me or confidence or anything like that. No doubt in my mind that if I do something wrong, I got to worry about it too much. Definitely keeps a clear head.
Yeah.
Um, I know that I'm relatively new to the comp scene, but I feel relatively speaking, obviously, but I know that a lot of people, same with Didi, um, didn't hear of us until we really got picked up to Elevate. Um, I would like to basically just say that I have a feeling that if everything goes well, that should hopefully change,
All right.
and get our names out there a little. But that's basically all I got to say.